Fear is a powerful force. It sits quietly in the shadows of our minds, whispering doubts, conjuring obstacles, and convincing us that what we truly desire is forever out of reach. Yet, the truth is simple and profound. Everything you want is beyond fear. The life you imagine, the success you crave, the happiness you seek, all lie on the other side of that invisible wall. The journey to break through it is not easy, but it is the most rewarding path you will ever tread. Let's begin with a story that could belong to anyone, anywhere. Imagine a young girl named Maya who dreamed of becoming a painter. Ever since she was little, colors fascinated her. She saw beauty in the play of sunlight on leaves, in the swirl of clouds at dusk, in the intricate patterns of worn city walls. She sketched on scraps of paper and painted on old cardboard. Her heart soared with every creation, but her mind was plagued by a persistent fear. She was afraid that her art was not good enough, that others would laugh at her dreams, that her talent would never be recognized. Each time she considered showing her work to the world, fear tightened its grip. She would hide her paintings away, telling herself she wasn't ready. Years passed, and Maya watched others chase their dreams. She saw friends take risks, starting businesses, traveling to new places, performing on stage. They stumbled, sometimes failed, but they grew stronger. Maya wondered what it would be like to live without fear. One day, she learned that a local gallery was hosting an open competition for new artists. The thought of submitting her work made her palms sweat and her heart pound. But something inside her stirred, a quiet longing to be seen, to be heard, to be known for what she loved. Summoning every ounce of courage, Maya entered the contest. She spent sleepless nights perfecting her pieces, battling the voice that said she wasn't good enough. She submitted her paintings, her hands trembling. The days that followed were agonizing. She imagined rejection, ridicule, failure. But when the results came in, her painting had not only been accepted, it was chosen as the centerpiece of the exhibition. Maya stood in the gallery, surrounded by strangers admiring her art, and realized that everything she wanted, recognition, pride, fulfillment, had waited for her just beyond her fear. Maya's story is not unique. We all have our own versions of it. Fear is universal, but so is the possibility of triumph. Consider the tale of Thomas Edison. Known as one of history's greatest inventors, Edison's journey was not smooth. He faced tremendous obstacles, setbacks, and failures. There were thousands of unsuccessful attempts before he finally invented a working light bulb. Each failure could have been a reason to quit. Each setback could have cemented fear in his heart. But Edison famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." He understood that the path to success is paved with fear, doubt, and perseverance. Everything he wanted, a world illuminated by his invention, was waiting for him beyond the fear of failure. Let's look at another story, the story of Wilma Rudolph. Born prematurely and stricken with polio as a child, doctors told her she would never walk again. But Wilma's mother refused to accept that fate, and so did Wilma. Through years of painful therapy and relentless determination, she learned to walk, then run. She faced discrimination, poverty, and physical limitations, but she pressed forward. In 1960, Wilma Rudolph became the first American woman to win 3 gold medals in track and field at a single Olympic Games. She had every reason to fear of pain, ridicule, defeat, but she chose courage. Her dreams were waiting on the other side of her fear. What holds us back is not the impossibility of our desires, but the stories fear tells us. It says, "You're not good enough." It warns, "You will fail." It insists, "Others will judge you." But these stories are not the truth. They are the barriers we place before ourselves. The only way to claim what we want is to walk through fear, to challenge its falsehoods, and to act in spite of its presence. Take the example of an entrepreneur named Sarah. She worked for years in a corporate job, dreaming of starting her own business. She envisioned a company that would bring innovative solutions to the world, But every time she thought about leaving her secure job, fear whispered warnings. What if you lose everything? What if your idea fails? What will people think? For years, Sarah hesitated, stuck in the comfort of the familiar. But one day, she realized that the only thing separating her from her dream was the decision to act. She took the leap, facing the uncertainty head-on. The first years were tough, setbacks, sleepless nights, moments of doubt. But slowly, her business grew. Her confidence soared, and she found a sense of purpose she had never known before. Success was not guaranteed, but fulfillment was found in the willingness to move beyond fear. You might wonder, is it possible to live without fear? The answer is no. Fear is a natural part of life. It protects us from danger, keeps us alert, and pushes us to prepare. But when fear becomes a prison, it stops us from living fully. The key is not to eliminate fear, but to learn to coexist with it, to acknowledge its presence, but not let it dictate our choices. Imagine the story of a man named Daniel, who dreamed of traveling the world. He read books about distant lands, watched documentaries about cultures and adventures, and longed for the thrill of discovery. But fear kept him rooted. Fear of the unknown, of getting lost, of being alone. Every vacation, he chose the familiar, never venturing far from home. One year, after a particularly stressful period at work, Daniel decided it was time for a change. He booked a solo trip to a country he had never visited, his heart pounding with anticipation and anxiety. The first days were challenging, language barriers, unfamiliar customs, moments of loneliness. But slowly, Daniel discovered the joy of exploration, the kindness of strangers, the beauty of independence. He returned home transformed, more confident, open-minded, and alive. Everything he wanted from life, adventure, growth, connection, was waiting for him beyond his fear. The journey beyond fear is not always grand or dramatic. Sometimes it is found in everyday choices. It is the student who raises their hand despite the fear of making a mistake. It is the parent who starts a difficult conversation, hoping to heal a broken relationship. It is the artist who shares their work with the world, risking criticism for the sake of expression. Each act of courage, no matter how small, is a step beyond fear toward the life we truly want. Let's consider the story of J.K. Rowling, author of the Harry Potter series. Before her success, Rowling faced immense hardship: poverty, depression, rejection. She sent her manuscript to numerous publishers, each time fearing another rejection. The pain of being dismissed, the fear of never achieving her dream, weighed heavily. But she persisted, believing in the magic of her story and the power of her imagination. When her book was finally accepted, it became a global phenomenon, touching millions of lives. Rowling's journey reminds us that fear is part of the process, not the end of it. There is an old proverb: ships are safest in the harbor, but that's not what ships are built for. We are not built to stay in the safety of our comfort zones. We are meant to venture out, to risk, to strive, to learn and grow. Each time we confront our fears, we expand our world, discovering new talents, meeting new people, experiencing new joys. How do we move beyond fear? It starts with acknowledging it. Name your fear. Understand where it comes from. Is it fear of failure, rejection, discomfort, or the unknown? By bringing it into the light, you weaken its power. Next, challenge the stories fear tells you. Ask yourself, is this really true? What evidence do I have? Often, our fears are built on assumptions, not facts. Then, take action, no matter how small. Action is the antidote to fear. The moment you step forward, you prove to yourself that you are capable. Celebrate every victory, no matter how minor. Each step builds confidence, which in turn diminishes fear. Support can make all the difference. Surround yourself with people who encourage you, who believe in your potential, who remind you of your strength. Share your fears with them. Vulnerability is not weakness, it is the foundation of courage. Let's revisit the story of Maya, the painter. After her exhibition, Maya continued to paint, her confidence growing. But fear did not disappear. Each new project brought fresh doubts. Yet, with every painting she shared, she became more resilient. Her story spread, inspiring others to pursue their dreams. Maya understood that fear was not her enemy. It was her teacher, showing her where she needed to grow. Consider the story of Nelson Mandela. Imprisoned for 27 years for fighting against apartheid, Mandela faced the constant threat of despair and fear. Yet he chose hope over fear, forgiveness over vengeance. When he was finally released, he led South Africa toward reconciliation, becoming a symbol of courage and transformation. Mandela famously said, "I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel af."